Yeah, thank you for the nice introduction, Paul and Ellen. I will share my screen and I will bring up a picture of myself and Gerhard. So who I am, I'm Philipp Hinterdorfer. I work for Mate and I'm ModelSearch product manager, so I'm responsible for nearly everything related to the software. So it's me on the left side and Gerhard, our partner sales manager, on the right side. Let's talk about why we have developed ModelSearch and what is ModelSearch all about. Well, as Ellen and Paul already mentioned, ModelSearch is a tool that should help you to find and reuse existing data. And it's a geometric similarity search solution. So why have we developed ModelSearch? Well, more than 10 years ago, customers called us and talked about their challenges, which I think they already exist nowadays. So what are the biggest challenges for our customers? And I can say the biggest challenge is that the customers do not find existing models, and they do not find them in all departments through the whole company. So when we take a look into the engineering department, then as mentioned, they don't find existing models. They don't find them, even they know that they already exist, but that they have created themselves before. But why they don't find them? Because of the naming scheme. So they all use automatic generated names which they do not remember. Sometimes they do not even know that the model already exists, but they haven't created themselves. A colleague has created the model, a colleague who sits on the other side of the office or next door, or even worse, on another location. So what happens is, if you do not find an existing model, then of course you have to create from scratch, which means you create the 3D model again, you create the 2D drawing, you have to select the material, you have to regenerate the strength calculation. If it's an in-house manufactured model, then you have to recreate the NC program, you have to figure out on which machines you can manufacture the model, which tools you need, which raw material, how long it takes to manufacture the model, and so on and so on. So everything that's linked or connected to the 3D model, you have to recreate from scratch. If you could find a similar model, or if you could find exactly the model you're looking for, then you could reuse all that downstreaming process, which first of all will speed up the creation, and of course it will save you lots of time. And as mentioned, those problems are not only related to the design department. You will see those problems or those challenges in all other departments too. So let's take a look into the manufacturing department. They will have the same challenge as in the design department. They may know they have manufactured a similar model in the past, but they don't find it without knowing the article number. So what happens is, once more, they are going to recreate the NC program and all the calculations they need. And it's exactly the same in the purchasing department. So they may know they have ordered a similar model in the past, but without having the article number, they don't find it. So they have to figure out which manufacturer can create the model, and they have no other order to compare if the part is overpriced now. So what happens if you recreate everything from scratch? And let's focus only on the design department first. Well, then of course it will end in an explosive proliferation of models, in an explosive proliferation of parts as well as assemblies. So most of the time the models do not stay in the design department, they will find their way into production, which means you will unnecessarily produce many similar or even identical parts. And it's even worse if you have those models also on stock, because you maybe have the same model 3, 4, 5 times on stock. The only difference is the article number. So if you recreate everything from scratch, then of course this also leads to excessively rising costs in all departments, development, purchasing, production, warehousing, maintenance, service, shipping. So in each department, who could benefit from already existing information. Typical mechanical engineering companies have several 100,000 models, up to millions of models in their database. And approximately 15% of those models are unwanted duplicates, so unwanted identical models. Back in 2016, VDMA puts the average cost of a purchase part at 1,800 euro and the average cost of an in-house manufactured part at 3,400 euro. So if we combine the money with the 15% unwanted duplicates, then you can imagine how much money you could save if you would find and reuse already existing models. But what possibilities do you have to find existing models in your database without knowing the article number? Well, basically, there are two possibilities. The first one is a manual classification system, which means you have to add all different types of attributes to the model yourself. So on the screen, you have a bracket, a mounting bracket maybe, and on the right side, you can see some attributes which I figured out in less than a minute. So maybe you call it lash, I call it angle, the third one calls it sheet metal, the fourth one mounting bracket. I think you can imagine if you use the wrong term, then you probably won't find the model in your database. So if you haven't tried, then let's go into Windchill, start the search with sheet metal, and I'm quite sure you will find lots of models. But all those models will vary in shape and dimension. So only a term is not enough. You need multiple terms, multiple attributes, multiple parameters to describe the model. In my case, I've mixed the terms with the number of slots, the length, the bend radius, the slot dimension, and so on and so on. But as you can imagine, that's lots of work, and you have to repeat that work always when you create a new version or a new iteration. So it won't really make sense to work with manual classification. And there is always the problem, if somebody doesn't add those attributes, then of course you won't find it anyway. So the only real possibility you have is an automatical support. And that's what we ship with ModelSearch.